certifying badasses one podcast at a time. Teaching you to love Monday. Check your baggage at licensed-to-be-badass.com and hop on the bus to Badassville. Turn up your energy with Mustang Monday. Here once again in the driver's seat is Kelly Orchard.
Well, all right. Okay. All right.
One take, right?
That's all we get. It's one take.
Shit, hold on. I'm a little nervous.
It's okay. Hey, everybody. I'm Kelly Orchard, the Badass Certifier, and this is Regina. What is your last name?
Casini.
Casini.
Yes.
That's very Italian.
It is very Italian. I am an Italian girl from Jersey.
Oh, well, I love that. Very good. All right, so Regina is the volunteer coordinator here at Michelle's Place as we wrap up a month of Michelle's Place in Mustang Monday. And you were already like, I need a drink.
I need a drink. A little nervous.
Nothing to be nervous about. But that's often what happens. So, okay, so first of all, tell me about your job a little bit at Michelle's Place, and I want to get to know you also.
Okay, so my job is a volunteer coordinator. It happened organically. I was a client at Michelle's Place 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
And I became a volunteer at Michelle's Place, and amazing, loved volunteering, and then all of a sudden the job for volunteer coordinator came up.
Yeah.
What that means is I herd cats. No, I have amazing volunteers. They run the front desk, they run our events, they do all kinds of things. I have over 160 volunteers.
That's a lot.
That is a lot of volunteers to coordinate. And
I know you have really good organizational skills.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Exactly what she said. I'm pretty organized here in my work life. Though there are lots of lists written, I do forget. I have memory.
Oh, how can you not?
Yeah, lots of going on.
Yeah.
But there's, someone has done it before me, but not as a specific job. Everybody has had a hand in volunteers because we've been a volunteer-run organization from day one. The first navigators were volunteers before they were navigators. So it has always been the heart of Michelle's Place. Our navigation team and our volunteers, they work really well together.
All right, so you started as a patient, okay, and then you started volunteering, and then so you were offered the position, a paid position, how long ago?
Well, I was hired to be a volunteer coordinator on March 1st of 2020.
Okay.
13 days later, we sent all of our volunteers home. And we didn't have volunteers in an office for almost 3 months.
Right.
So I got a job being a volunteer coordinator without any volunteers.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of hard. It was scary because it was a new job for me. I've been a retail merchandiser for the last 20 years of my life, so it was something different, but we turned it around. I became a receptionist, an encouragement caller, learn how to send things everywhere. We went via Zoom on a lot of our support groups, so we did slowly start to bring volunteers back. We had a lot of volunteers doing some stuff at home, paperwork and things like that, and then we were back in the office in June. So we had a skeleton crew when we first came back to the office. My daughter worked a lot, and because we didn't know what was going on. So, but we still had clients to serve.
Right.
We can do a lot of the navigators do an amazing job over the phone with our clients, but you can't really send somebody a wig via Zoom.
Right. And plus that person-to-person, in-person contact is so important. There's so many more benefits to being in person than Zoom or telehealth, but at least we had it.
We did.
Right?
We flipped that switch, and I think we did a really good job. We learned a lot during COVID. We learned that we needed a Zoom component. We never realized that. We now will probably have a hybrid going forward. That's what we're doing now, but there are clients, people who are going through cancer who can't leave the house.
Right.
They're too tired, but they still want to be involved in our programs, and they are.
And that's wonderful. I mean, so something good came out of the bad.
Exactly.
Way to be badass and make it work. Yeah. Right. So what do you do for fun? Tell me about you personally and your family. And you were talking about how your tip was going to be,
My tip was fake it till you make it. Which is
fake it till you make it.
A little bit of this.
What we're doing right now, because you're nervous as heck, aren't you?
I'm just a little bit nervous.
But you're great. It's just a conversation. That's all it is. Pretend that that's not even there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's what started. You can't fake brain surgery. You can't fake learning to drive, but you can fake public speaking.
Just pretend they're all in their underwear.
Exactly. When I love to talk, so if anybody knows me, they know I love to talk, but I'm not really big on talking in front of a bunch of people. And when I was still a volunteer, Kim came to me, our executive director, and asked me to tell my story in front of people for money. I was like, okay. And I had to actually tell my story standing up all alone in 7 minutes, which is very hard for me. So I faked it. I walked around the house pretending I was talking to people, and it worked. And then she asked me to do it again and again. So that's my big thing.
The thing I love is I walked around the house pretending I was talking to people. Well, I am a trained professional speaker, and I will tell you, that's how we all practice. That's it.
I'm doing something right.
You did it right, yeah. So do you feel more comfortable now?
Once I get started. It's always the lead up to it. But again, that's all part of the faking it. I'm thinking in my head, I'm thinking I can't do this. But I'm like, well, if I fake it and think and pretend and act like I know what I'm doing, then
it's a performance.
It's a performance.
Because a couple weeks ago, I was getting ready to speak at my own Rotary Club, which I know those people, and they know me, and I'm very much myself with them. And I am a trained speaker, but it's like performers always get nervous no matter what before they go on, even the most experienced performers, because if they didn't, that means they really don't care.
Exactly.
So the fake it till you make it, I don't think you're actually faking it, with the exception of you're nervous as heck. Right? Yeah. But you do it again and again, which means that you must be pretty good.
I think so. I stay on topic, though there are times where I forget where I'm going, or I lose track.
That happens to me all the time too.
Yeah, but you can't edit it while you're live in front of people, so I just used chemo brain, because it's real. It's always going to be there in the back of my mind. I will forget a word that I was supposed to say, and that's where you just smile and laugh. And I like to laugh, and I try to make people laugh while I'm telling it. So
yeah. So what do you do for fun?
I do for fun. So I am married. I have a husband, Raymond. I have 2 daughters and lots of dogs and cats. We like to camp. We got a trailer this year, so we love the beach. I said I am a Jersey girl at heart, but I love my Cali life. I love being able to go to the beach for sunset on Thanksgiving. Things like that I couldn't do back.
Southern California, born and bred, and I totally agree 100%.
Yeah, we had a beach on the East Coast. I went to I went down the shore, because that's what it's called in Jersey. We're not going to the beach. We go down the shore. But not in the middle of winter. And, it's different. Yeah. It's a different look. So but I love that, and I just do.
So you've only been out here a couple of years.
4 years. Last week we moved.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 years.
And what brought you out here?
I always knew I wanted to leave Jersey just because of the weather, and I always knew that I wanted to move someplace warmer. I expected it to be South Carolina, but my husband's company started opening locations throughout the country, and they started in Texas, and I said, no, way too hot. And then they started at the top of the West Coast and worked their way down. And I'm like, oh, no. And
I'll wait till California.
San Diego. I'm like, why are we still on the phone?
Yeah. I love that.
Tell them yes.
Yes.
So then his company moved us, and I walked into my company at the time, was a retail merchandiser, and I said, I have to quit. And they said, no, I think we can create a territory there. So I moved across the country with a job, unsurprisingly.
You said unfortunately.
Fortunately, I moved across the country with a job. Yeah. And so I did that.
It worked out well.
Yeah.
But the whole thing about transitioning from retail to this kind of a job was more about a heartfelt desire than it wasn't a need. It wasn't, or anything like that. You just like, I don't want to do that anymore. It's not.
I actually got this job 4 weeks before a layoff because of COVID. So I got this job on March 1st, and we were all sent home from my previous job, because I'm still doing it part-time. I was still doing it part-time, and got laid off. after 18 years. So
wow,
everything falls. That's another one. I put out what and I get. Right. So
explain more about that, because I understand, but I want you to tell them I put out more than I get.
So what I feel is, again, it's part of that faking it till you make it. I put out good thoughts. I put out good vibes. I put out things. Even I'm a very positive person. Sometimes Susie Sunshine to a fault. But it's not always the case. Sometimes, I went through cancer. I moved across the country. I had lost my father. My mother's on the other side of the world, the country. So it's like sometimes it's not always positive. But I believe that if I think positively and I believe that the day is going to get better, it does. Because I can get in a negative spiral and I can stay there, or I can pretend for 5 minutes that I'm happy, and then my day starts to change. I put out that positive and I start to get back that positive. And I think that's in my life in general. I put out positive. I put out what I want. I put out that I wanted this job. I wrote January, I wrote it on a vision board at our expressive art class, and 3 months later the position opened up. So I knew that what I put out I get. I do have a vision board, and it's a hokey thing and everybody laughs, but it's hanging in my wall in work, and not everything is coming true, but my RV is on there and I got it. And my different things in life I put out, and I get back.
Receive.
And then I receive.
And that is the ultimate in positive psychology and neuroscience and the law of attraction, which are things that the Badass program all promotes and goes with. So it's like you, I realize we're kind of a kindred spirit, because I'm positive a lot too, and I do focus on the positive, even though life is tough.
It is.
And stuff happens. But if you don't have that positive attitude, you will downward spiral into depression, and then nothing you ever wanted will happen.
Right.
And you'll wonder, how did I get here? Yep. And so, and I love that about you. I started going around saying, basically saying, like, I'm the pig pen of positivity. So when it's like, it's kind of like,
it's all around
it's
you.
all around me.
All around
So just come on over and drink it up.
And my best friend out here in California is a negative Nelly. We laugh because we met through cancer. We met. She needed a support group. She wanted to find somebody who was in the exact same place she was. And she was sitting in the office with one of the navigators, and in I walk, looking for a support group. And I was in the exact same spot. We had the same diagnosis day. We have a little bit different of a journey, but we followed everything, the path, very similar. And she jokes that I am the positive and she is the negative, and we kind of balance each other out. Yes, because because you can get in that downward spiral,
and those of us with that practice the positive psychology aspect can also be exhausting to people who aren't ready for it.
Yes,
and that's one other thing I teach is a little emotional intelligence, to be able to read how people are responding to your positivity, because I can get myself into trouble by being, kind of sarcastic, because that's part of how I bring on the humor.
Me too.
But when you're supporting a grieving person, you don't want to be sarcastic. You know, so I have to really. And I facilitated a support group. I still facilitate a support group for. We do survivorship, and I've done what's called our beginning one, our self-help. And I always put out the positive, but I also know that you can be angry and you can be mad. And, those are normal emotions.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's right. Those are normal emotions.
But you can't stay there.
Right.
We can't unpack that suitcase. You can unpack the travel bag, you can unpack the toiletries, but you can't stay in that one spot forever.
Yeah, and with the anger and the frustration and the depression, it's a matter of having some tools to manage it so that you don't be self-destructive.
Exactly.
But they are normal emotions.
Absolutely.
They are very real, and people need to be validated about that.
Exactly.
But then it's a matter of, okay, but what are we going to do with it? When you run a grief group, it's like some of the most profound moments was, for children, who are so frustrated when they don't even know how to express themselves. When they finally have that breakthrough, and usually it's a punching bag because they're angry. And they don't know they're angry about losing whatever it is that they lost. So, you have to express the anger somehow. So you have art classes and other ways to express, and that's some of what you do as well.
Exactly. I was the biggest attendee of art class and all of our groups.
So
I started a crochet group because I realized when I moved here, I used to go to an every Wednesday stitching, knitters and crocheters on the East Coast. And at the library, I'd go every Wednesday. And I never realized until I went to an actual real support group for cancer that was my support group for life.
Yeah.
We were just a bunch of people sitting around and
chatting,
complaining about our kids, telling everybody how wonderful something was, and it was just a conversation. And so I started that here because it doesn't have to be just about cancer. You know, we talk about everything. You know, it's just a bunch of people sitting around, Zoom on the screen or in person. And
so your badass tip then basically is like fake it till you make it, but you're not really faking it because you were just practicing self-confidence. But I do love that, fake it till you make it. But I think the other thing is that getting involved in some sort of support, no matter if you have cancer or not,
right,
is beneficial for your whole life.
For everyone.
Yeah.
I believe, I believe people truly need. I always said everybody should be in some sort of therapy, and if it's the support group, and not your friend group, because that is not the right group.
Yeah.
My knitters and crocheters, they became my friends, but in a different context.
Yes.
And that was just something that happened naturally. You need someone to talk to. You need to tell your story to people. And you need to, hear advice sometimes, though you don't really take it all the time. But you need to hear it, and you need to be able to tell people.
And feel that acceptance.
Exactly.
and that knowledge that you're not alone.
Exactly.
In whatever your journey is, nobody gets out of this life alone, and we shouldn't go through it alone. Yeah,
that's our mission. No one faces cancer alone.
That's right, and that's a great way to end this. All right, everybody, I'm Kelly Orchard, the Badass Certifier, and thank you, Regina, for joining me from Michelle's Place. And repeat after me. We are reminding you to be bold,
be bold,
be brave,
be brave,
be confident,
be confident,
be badass,
be badass.
If you enjoy these interviews, you can watch videos of Mustang Monday on Kelly's YouTube channel, too. Grab your Badass Habits ebook. Get started on your badass journey. Go to licensedtobebadass.com.